Welcome back to another episode of Talking Sports A to Z with Alex Bush and Drew Logar. Today we're going to get into a lot of stuff, starting with the NFL schedule release. We'll talk about our teams, the Bills and the Jets, and who we think is going to make it, into the playoffs and all the way this season. And we'll get into that before talking to our buddy Mike Garabedian, who works at the MLS right now. He's a social guru over there who he was with us at the NBA. And then get into the Last Dance, like always, the second to last week, two really great episodes. So we're looking forward to that. Welcome back to Talking Sports A to Z. I'm Alex Bush alongside Drew Logar. How's it going, bro?
What's going on, man? Back in New Jersey. I was upstate for the weekend, but glad to be back. And a lot happened over the weekend, including what I thought was the best installment of the MJ Last Dance documentary. Episodes 7 and 8 were incredible, like every other episodes have been. But just to see the emotion pour out of him with the father's passing during that season end and him switching to baseball. I mean, it was incredibly entertaining. And week 1, baby, I know you saw the NFL schedule release. The fact that my Jets hit up your Bills in week 1 is a dream come true for me. I get to chirp you all preseason, all off season, up until the moment and first kickoff. It's you versus me. You can't script anything better than that.
Well, I mean, it's going to be the same as last year, except maybe, there won't be a bad first half this time. So you might owe me money at halftime, but either way,
What you're not taking into account is that we actually have an offensive line now, and Sam Darnold is no longer focused on going into the Lower East Side of Manhattan to kiss
and getting mono.
and catch mono. So he is he's serious. He's locked in. And, hey, what's better than having Le'Veon Bell on a contract that he's not happy with in year 2? He's going to be hungry.
Or he's not going to show up. But, I mean, dude, just to start off, Bills-Jets week 1 is great. We had that last year. We had fun chirping back and forth. It's going to be interesting because, it's in Buffalo and it sucks because we don't know if there's going to be fans, and I'd bring you up to Orchard Park and have a good Bills Mafia tailgate with you, but probably won't happen. So maybe we'll watch at your apartment and I'll watch you cry again. So, that's fun. But yeah,
I'm on the second floor of my apartment building. We can jump off the side roof and into a.
We can put a table downstairs. We'll be good.
We could still have a tailgate. Don't you worry.
Improvising.
Tailgate Jersey City style.
I'm excited. The schedule release has never been as big as it is now because we're all quarantined and we're like starving for content and just things. Whether the season happens or not, the Bills have 4 primetime games and I'm pumped. And there's a lot of discussion around whether the season's going to start or not, but we're just going to pretend that the season's starting on time right now just because we'll break down different things. But when you look at the Jets schedule, anything pop to you?
I mean, my first thought is, God damn it. I mean, the fact that the AFC East drew the AFC West and NFC West, I'm looking at at the Jets schedule, and for as confident as I am that we're going to take a leap this year, the teams that we play, it's just going to be a lot of dogfights and a lot of games.
The schedule is not going to be easy.
When I'm being realistic with everything, it's I want to say that we're going to be over 500, but I think that getting to 8-8 would be a very, very, very successful season. It's just I think the Chiefs, defending champions, that's tough. I think the Raiders in year 2 of Gruden's offensive mastery that he has, and
that's a question mark to me, but
it's a question mark. But what the fact that they're one of like the lower level teams, it's like they're not a home run of an opponent. And when you go out to the, and I personally, I think the Broncos are going to be on the up and up, and the Chargers are nothing to mess around with. And then you go over I mean, the 49ers, we have them in week 2, and they were one
Boy.
overthrow away from winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're going to
I
be
think the
tough.
Rams bit overrated, but once again, they're not a team that I can think, oh, it's a layup. So it's just a bunch of games that are I'm going to be kind of chomping my fingernails the entire game, and hopefully the fourth quarter we pull something out.
So you have to pick gun to your head. What's your record for the Jets this year? I know you said you're expecting around 500, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna lock that in. Not to be
Okay.
boring with that take, but
Dude, I did it. I locked that in for the Bills for 10 straight years, so I get
yeah,
it.
no, I'm looking at the season now, and uh, I think that we are going to show some resolve, and we
Mhm.
are going to pick up a couple of these wins, and the fact that uh, we have New England twice, both in the second half of the season. We have Miami. And hopefully by week 13, we're in some sort of a groove that the Raiders get matchup is a winnable game. But I mean, when you toss in like Cleveland and at LA and at Seattle in back-to-back weeks, it's just daunting,
That's
man.
tough.
So in an optimistic way, but staying somewhat reasonable, I'm gonna lock in right now. What are we? May 11th. May
May
11th,
11th, yeah.
2020. My official lock-in will be 8-8 for the New York Jets.
Okay. I mean,
How
that
about
would be an
your
improvement for you. I know that you're in that spot for the Jets as you're looking for improvement more than you're trying to win the Super Bowl, and that's what you want.
100%? Yeah, I think. I mean, you nailed it. But with what we did to shore up our offensive line, we're making the smart like roster moves, and Sam Darnold is still only 22 years old. So
Mhm.
our foundation blocks and our building blocks to the team are still so young, and Douglas, the GM, kind of first draft in his tenure this year. It's like we're still in the very, very like baby stages of this building, and I think if we got to 8-8, even though it's just a marginal increase from record wise last year, uh, another year with Gase and Darnold getting that groove, a couple weapons on the outside, I think 8-8 with the schedule that we have would be awesome.
Well, sometimes it doesn't even matter in record. You could be 8-8. The next year, you could be 8-8 or 9-7, and still see a ton of improvement. So,
Right.
what was the record last year? 4-12 or five?
Yeah,
Four
they
and
were
12.
4-12.
Okay.
I'll forever put an asterisk next to it just because we didn't have our starting QB for 6 games,
Yeah.
and
No. Agreed. I used to say
in
that
that
about the Bills 2 years ago. So
we went one
yeah.
and five. So, but yeah, looking at that schedule, it sucks the opponents that we play because they're all formidable. But I'm
Mhm.
confident in the roster that we're throwing out there on the field come September 13th. So I'll toss it over to you. I think the listeners have heard enough about the Jets for one podcast. So let's talk about a team that actually made the playoffs and is looking to make some noise, I'm assuming. How are you feeling about the Bills draw?
Yeah, so everyone's throwing out numbers and going crazy about records and stuff like that. I think you have to. The way I look at this for at least the Bills team, they were, a 10-6 team last year. But as a Jets fan, you saw the last game of the year. The Bills played their third strings. They had a wide receiver playing cornerback. Like it was, it was an 11-5 year. If
Yep.
that game mattered, they win that easily. And I think that once you get to that tier where you're a playoff team and you're trying to improve, the improvements look a lot smaller. Like if they say they win 10, 11 games next year, and that's pretty much the same record they had, I still think it could be an improvement, especially with the schedule. You talked about the schedule. They play at San Fran on Monday night. They play at the Pats on Monday night. They have, they play at Vegas. They play Seattle and the Rams at home. It's not an easy schedule. And I think that,
Right.
to throw out a number, I'd probably say I'd expect. It depends if the last game of the year matters, but if it does, if they're in a fight for the last game, I think they could get to 12 wins. But I think 11-5 is a really good estimate for them this year. And dude,
Oh.
11-5 could be. That very well could be the division winner and could be a top
Oh.
3 team in the AFC.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I was looking at your schedule, and you share the damn. All these opponents are good, but the difference between the Jets and the Bills is that you guys are that next tier of,
Hmm.
oh no, we're actually good. So the game against the Rams and the game against the Raiders should be winnable. The game against
Yeah.
the Colts, and frankly, I don't know when you
They,
drew them, but when you play Cleveland,
they don't
if
they
you
don't play Cleveland this year.
don't, okay.
No, so they play the AFC and NFC West, and then I'm trying to think of who their other random games. Don't they have two random games in there, which would be what, Colts and Browns for the Jets?
Yeah, we had the Colts and Browns.
I
So,
don't even remember who it is. I'll remember.
but even
Um,
even Seattle, like maybe it might be a primetime game,
I
but like
love that that's a home game.
yeah, from a roster standpoint, the fact that you have them coming from west to east,
Hmm.
that'll be that that should be a winnable game, to be quite honest with you. And
Yep.
something that I think is continuing to get like a slow burn of praise is just how good of a coach QB matchup that you have with McDermott and Allen. I think
Hmm.
that McDermott as a head coach continues honestly by the week to show that he's one of the best minds in the game. And the fact that he's so no bullshit, he's riding a very like tight ship there, and having that Midwest, mid-major, kind of country boy Josh Allen that's not
Yeah.
there.
Very blue collared, which is why it's
Very,
perfect for Buffalo.
yeah, very blue collar. And I know you touch on it all the time, but it's just when the fact that you're developing a talented roster, uh, when you have a coach that's no bullshit and you have a QB that's in nature no bullshit,
Hmm.
it has to be a comforting feeling.
I mean, it's great. The thing about Josh that worries, Bills fans is, first of all, his health, because he risks everything for every play, which you love. But if he's going for an extra yard and gets hurt, it's a whole different thing. But also, he's very inaccurate on the long ball, and I think that that's something he needs to take a step in. And I mean, you see his arm is incredible. If he can be accurate on that long ball, especially with someone like Diggs coming in and being able to be that wide out, just like John Brown with his speed, if he can hit that long ball a lot more, he can become lethal. But if he does not change that, I mean, that's going to be tough
Yeah,
as a thrower, at least, because his legs speak for himself. I love the way he runs, and I mean, I play Madden and run up 150 yards rushing with him every
look at
game.
this,
So,
everybody. This is episode 4, and we're finally starting to get level-headed Bush. I actually really enjoy that take. No, I think you're spot on, man. Josh Allen has a ceiling right now, but with his potential, it's limitless. When you're
mhm.
6'6" and you're big as hell and you can run like he can, if he can shore up the decision making of I'll throw it away rather than getting those 3 yards and risk a concussion or
Mhm.
risk that fumble,
Or
and
have that, like when he tried to pitch it against the Texans,
just
like
kind
that
of
kind of play.
like borderline boneheaded mistakes. And that sounds
Hmm.
harsh, but it is
No, it's
just
true.
a blip in decision making. If he shores that up just a bit more, and I think as a quarterback, he understands that his deep ball isn't the most dialed in, and the coaching staff does. And honestly, I think bringing in a guy like Diggs, not only is it just on a roster standpoint, you need weapons if you want to take that next step to become like kind of vying for the Super Bowl and deep runs into the playoffs. But I think bringing Diggs in is a testament of the ownership saying, "Hey, Josh, like we're believing in your growth,
And
or
building around him.
and we're building around your growth, and we're gonna bring in a deep threat kind of specialist
Hmm.
in Diggs." Let's be honest, Diggs is one of the best at separation off the line and getting into that
Just running
secondary
his routes too,
and running
tricking
his
guys
route.
on a corner and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So if Josh Allen can make John Brown a viable waiver wire pickup in a lot of fantasy leagues randomly, just because how they connected, imagine what the possibilities are with Diggs. So
I'm
I'm looking at the AFC East now without Tom Brady. I would lean that it would be a Bills division to win.
I mean, right now it's their division to win, in my book, but I mean, a lot of people. I mean, sports books have started changing the Bills as favorites right now. They before the draft, it was the Patriots, and I really think that it's insane to think that the Patriots have the biggest question mark at quarterback because it's been Tom Brady dominating the division for so long, and it's pretty pleasant for us.
Yeah, no. Last point on the AFC East. I to be honest, I'm hearing chatter about all three of your teams. The Jets are the only team that I'm not hearing that are going to be like vying for the division, and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Dolphins talk is very, very premature. I think they're building something decent,
They're
and
definitely building, but
they're building,
they're
but
don't overrate them like this.
that's what I'm saying. So we've dealt with the building of foundations for so many years. It's Brian Flores isn't going to turn what he's working with from terrible to incredible just because Tom Brady left. So from a roster
Yeah,
standpoint, I do really think that the Bills are going to be there. So
I love it.
I know we're part of the premature journalism in the sense that we want to give you guys kind of our picks for each division winner, right, Bush? And then we
Yeah,
want
let's
to pick.
do because this year there's 14 teams, so there's an extra wild card. So we'll do maybe each of us read off AFC division winners and then NFC, and then we'll go into wild card and maybe pick a Super Bowl for the hell of it, something like
Okay,
that.
let's go. Let's go all the way down the divisions, and then do 3 wild card from AFC, 3 wild card from NFC.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, let's go division. We each say it, and then go next division like that.
I'm cool with that. So I'll start with my AFC East winner. I am gonna say your Buffalo Bills. I'm assuming
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, I am also going to say that. Yep.
Down to the AFC North. I do think that the Ravens are going to repeat as AFC North champion.
Yeah, I think the Ravens have no issue. They're only going to build on what they already built, and I think that one playoff loss is not going to affect them to the way, or two now, but one with a full season of Lamar is not going to affect them that much.
And I do think that the AFC North is a sneaky a sneaky pick for most entertaining division. You
Yeah,
look at the teams here: Pittsburgh getting Big Ben back, Cleveland. It's borderline a train wreck every year. So out of just train wreck,
but roster-wise, they got an incredible roster. That's the thing.
Roster-wise, they continue to get stronger. So I want to see that. And then Cincinnati, Joe Burrow. And honestly, I thought they had an incredible draft. So I like that. But moving on to the AFC South, this gets interesting.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna go Tennessee.
Same. I really don't think Tennessee is a great team, and I think they're going to do good things, but I don't think, having your quarterback be a guy that's going to be a question mark always and having your best player be your only player in offense is going to get them too far. But I really don't see them blowing this division from the way, just building on last year's postseason success and realizing if you give Derrick Henry the ball 45 times, he's going to win every game. So not every game, but you know what I mean. He's going to be able to beat teams that you should not beat.
Yep, I agree that right now I give the edge to Tennessee. So, but I am sneaky intrigued with how Phillip Rivers is gonna run that ship in Indianapolis. So that's kind of a team that I'm looking out for. Moving on to the AFC West.
We're probably gonna no brainer.
Yeah, I think we
Chiefs,
just
for
got
sure.
all 4 AFC winners.
Wait, let's go to wild cards now. I'm gonna see if we can match them. That'd be hilarious.
Okay, so wild cards in the AFC in no order, correct? We're just going through.
Yeah, just 3 wild cards.
Okay, so I think that my wild cards are going to be Indianapolis, Denver, and Cleveland.
Wow, my guy. Okay, so I agree with Cleveland. I think that they're going to be able to do something this year, and I think that that team is way too talented to keep Brownsing everything. And as a guy that, went to school there, I know a ton of Browns fans, and they talk about how they mess up everything, but I'd love to see them in the playoffs.
How do they feel when you use Brownsing as
They use the term. They use the term on it. Brownsing is – I used to say Billsing all the time. It's the same thing. It's, just screwing up when it doesn't seem possible. But
I need to put Jetsing into my vocab.
Yeah, you should. I think you should. And then my other 2 are So I think the Steelers have such a good defense that they can make the playoffs off of their defense alone. I think their offense has talent, but we don't know where the hell Big Ben's gonna be. He could be on his way down, on his way out, but he could come back and have a great season. I really don't know. So, but I think with their defensive alone, they can make the playoffs with any quarterback. I think they if your Jets didn't beat them last year, wasn't it the Jets that beat them, that knocked them out of the playoffs last year? If they were one game away from the playoffs. So, and then my third team, this team's going to be a question mark because of their move in trading Hopkins, but I think the Texans make the wild card again. And but yeah, we really don't know. I think that there could be a lot of teams that sneak in at the end.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on it. Honestly, I think one of the wildcard teams are going to be coming out of that AFC South. None of the 4 teams are like.
I mean, it's not the Jaguars. Let's just start there.
True.
They're going to be trash.
Between Houston, Tennessee, and Indy, they're not necessarily like a sexy pick, but they are well coached, or they are a good unit. And every year I feel like that division is always 10-6, 9-7, 8-8, but they're all kind of like,
it's always a battle.
Yeah, it's always a battle. And I do think that one of those teams, I just look at Phil Rivers as a vet. He knows what he's doing. I love the coaching staff and the foundation that Indy has. And honestly, getting rid of Hopkins, nothing more needs to be said. I do think I'm going to give the nod to Indy for that final.
Okay. I like the picks though. I like that you went Brownies too. So
nice.
I want to see that. That'd be great, especially seeing all my friends being depressed Brown fans by week 4 is just not cool, and I like to see them do well.
Totally. So moving down to the NFC. In the NFC East, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Same here.
Yeah.
I think that they've made they made a splash, and I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be incredible, and it's going to be awesome to watch their wide receiver core go at it this year.
Yeah.
Dak is trying to prove himself every single day, so I think that that's huge for them.
Yeah, and this is one of those divisions that getting CeeDee Lamb there, and with all this talk about Dak Prescott, it's like he's so confident that he is the money that he thinks he's worth. And there's so much chatter about like, I don't know if he's that good. I think this is a perfect year of a put up or shut up. And
it's a prove it year for sure for him. And I think that it could very well go down the gutters quick. We don't know, but I really see them being a good team this year.
I do,
especially after last year.
I think with how that top of the NFC East always plays out, it's always a dogfight. Last year, the Philly Eagles, they won at 9-7. No team in this division typically is ever going to be 12-4, 13-3. So I do think that the Dallas Cowboys will grind out the division win. But moving to the NFC North, I have the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. I have the Packers.
Okay.
I mean, there's those 2 teams. There's not much to explain besides they're just steady and they're going to be going. The Packers are going to be very, very questionable this year what they do and how Aaron Rodgers takes everything now that they drafted Jordan Love. But I think that team too solid all around to miss the playoffs this year, especially not to win the division. So
moving on to the NFC South. Might come as a surprise just because they're not the sexy team in the media, but I'm going with the New Orleans Saints.
I am too. I'm a big proponent of Gronk and Brady this year, but I don't think they're going to win the division. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs or do anything, but the Saints are just so solid offensively, and I really think that they're going to put up a lot of 40-50 burgers on everyone, and I'm going to bet every single over, and it's going to be incredible. And they're going to win the division, again. So.
Yeah. Awesome. And then lastly, in the NFC West, loved what the 49ers did in their draft. They were an overthrow away from winning the Super Bowl last season. I think they're going to repeat as division champs.
Yep, same here. 49ers, after they lose a Super Bowl, everyone's like having questions about Garoppolo and their whole team, and I think that's ridiculous. They're going to be right there again. They're going to be in the Super Bowl in the next couple years anyways. So, they're going to win the division easy, I think.
So I'll just rattle off my 3 wild card picks.
Okay.
I'm going to go Philly and this is in no particular order just because
Yeah,
they're wild cards. So I got the Eagles. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I'm too scared to bet against Tom Brady after all of those
don't do
years.
it. Don't do it.
And then my final team is going to be the Seattle Seahawks.
You had Seahawks, Eagles, Bucks. So I have Seahawks and Bucks as well, and
Yeah.
the Vikings. So I'm having the Packers and Vikings both make the playoffs, and I think that the Bucks are going to probably be the top wildcard team out of all those. I think they're going to have a great year, but it's not going to be the outstanding year that everyone is expecting already right off the bat.
Interesting. Okay.
But
So
Super Bowl's in Tampa.
to save some time and to save my voice because we're already talking too much, let's just skip right to who we think are going to be Super Bowl representing in Tampa Bay for this coming 2020 season. Bush, give me your AFC winner.
So I think it's going to be the Chiefs. I think they're just too incredible, and they're only going to get better. And I think, drafting a running back there and Hilaire is going to be incredible with them, and he's going to fit right in there. I think they're going to have a great year. Hopefully, Mahomes stays healthy, and he can just build off of what he did in the postseason last year and towards the end of the year. And that's my AFC team, and I'm guessing you have the same.
Yeah,
Or the Ravens.
Doesn't even need to be explained, but I have the Chiefs coming out
Okay.
of the coming out.
But I do think the Bills are going to win a playoff game. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice.
We'll see though, because they might get a bye and have to play like the Ravens or someone. So maybe not. I don't know.
Chiefs in, and then I will take in the NFC. It's annoying. My heart says. My heart kind of wants to pick Minnesota, but I'm going to go the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's a
full repeat.
I think it might be a full repeat.
Interesting. I'm still you know who I think could be – see, this is the team that I thought last year going into the playoffs was going to make it all, and they lost in their first game. And I think the Saints have a really good chance of being that team. And if the Saints play the Chiefs, oh, my God, take the over. Holy crap. You could give me an over at 90 and I'll take it. Literally.
No, I mean, the Saints are one of those teams that it's tough to bet against. I just look at the full body of work that Shanahan has going in San Francisco. I think that the Saints and the 49ers are so close at the top, but just how complete or more complete that defense is in the Bay. I think that's the difference between the two teams. And although it's a boring pick, I do think my money would be on the on the teams to repeat and get back to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I'm all for it. I was lucky to be able to go to the Super Bowl this past year, and it was so much fun. That game was incredible. I mean, we expected more scoring earlier, but it was such a fun game, and I really I wouldn't mind having those two teams kind of go at it again. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
So
nice. And I think down the road we'll be able to have the time to kind of dissect by division more in depth. I think there's storylines all over the league that, frankly, we haven't even begun to discuss. So down the road, we'll take more time to get into that. But I'm excited to bring on our guest tonight, Mike Garabedian, friend of ours, former colleague at the NBA, but now he's managing social media for the Major League Soccer. Based in New York City now, but obviously working all across the country to execute that. He's doing a good job there, and we'll get his Super Bowl take. We'll ask him that. But excited.
It'll be the Bucks for sure. Let's be honest.
I love how he's come out of the woodwork once Brady and Gronk go
Huge
down.
Bucks fan, not a Miami fan. No.
So let's see if he backs that up when we listen to him. But. Coming up is our buddy Mike Garabedian.
Yep, we'll send it to him now. Thanks, guys. Welcome back. We're here joined with our good buddy Mike Garabedian, social media manager of MLS. right now.
Yo,
how's it going?
yo.
How's
What's
it going, bro?
good? What's good, fellas? Hey,
What's going
excited
on,
to
my
talk,
man? Long
man.
time no see.
I know, I know. It's been a couple months. We were out together like a month before this happened. Who
Great.
knew that would have been the last time we saw each other for a couple months?
It feels like 5 years, bro. No bullshit about that.
I legitimately don't think I've seen you in person since I came to New York last, which was like 2019 summer, maybe.
I think it was. I think you surprised someone for their birthday.
Oh yeah, Katie's birthday. What? I don't remember what month, but it was 2019. It was a while ago.
You were bowling.
Yeah, we went to a bowling alley, bro.
Before we go down memory lane, we have to give the backstory. So Mike worked with us at the NBA. All three of us are now former employees there, but that's how this bond started. He's part of the NBA fam forever with us. A lot of good memories in the content center, but also outside and in
also at the bars.
But I think something that we did with Justin was kind of talking about best memories. I'll toss that to you as well. What are some of the fondest things that you remember from our time at the NBA together?
Yo, just sitting in that content room, man. And like, I know probably everyone says that.
Yeah.
Like, we were like a little family in there. You could basically go in there and just talk shit. Like, it was crazy. I'd show up at like 5:30. If I had a meeting, I'd show up a little earlier. And I would go downstairs. I wouldn't even go to my desk upstairs. I'd go upstairs, get my coffee, get my cold brew. I missed that. I'm not going to lie.
You were big on the cold brew.
Yeah, so
he was a big cold brew guy. You were a big cold brew guy, but you had the most funky setup. You always had like shit on the sides, like
soy milk. I add a little soy milk and change the color.
I don't know about that.
I live in Brooklyn, so soy milk.
Oh boy, I don't know about that one.
Cold brew, that's right up my alley.
Soy milk, but I don't know. That was some suspect things in there, man.
Oh man, that was the best. So that's how I started my day. Go downstairs. I just drop my stuff off, and then honestly, immediately just start talking shit.
Right.
Everyone, just say hi, pound everyone, and then I don't know. If someone was in a hot take, I just joined it, and that's what I did.
I just think that between the three of us, there's so much shit talking, arguing, debating that went on, whether it's just two of us or whatever, but it's ridiculous.
I mean, that's why you join. That's why you work in sports, right? That's
yes,
why
100%.
Like you go for the camaraderie, people similar interests as you. They love sports. They love to talk. I mean, we're all fans. Let's be real, but we work hard when it comes time. But like, we're watching those games as fans, and we're giving you the content that we want to see as fans. So we feel like it's just catered towards you guys.
It's so true.
And but like those memories, like I don't know, I was there for Dame's buzzer beater. And I was there for Kawhi's buzzer beater.
You mean Tissot buzzer beater, right?
Tissot, #Tissot buzzer beater. As a member of the content center, those were the worst things ever.
Everyone wanted those, but they're crazy.
They were crazy. They were sick. Next thing you know, it's 4 a.m. It's still working. Like, fuck, man. Why couldn't he hit it with 1 second? Why couldn't he get fouled? Hit some Sorry, guys. Like, they're fun, but sometimes you don't want them unless it's your team, obviously.
Dude, it is so true, and it's so funny how like the way my mind shifted like as time went along at the NBA from like initially when I worked there, like at the beginning when buzzer beaters happened, I would like jump up and be like, let's fucking go, like, oh my God. But then like the more I realized like, oh shit, this makes our job for the next like 4 hours
so much more difficult.
We all in the content center were like praying, like miss it, or like travel or get fouled or something that just didn't make it a buzzer beater. Buzzer beaters were the worst. It was fun, dude. It was the worst.
The worst. But then they were so entertaining. Like I got to work. I was there for Wade's buzzer beater. I'm a huge Miami guy.
Right.
So I got the Inter Miami hat, representing. And Dwayne Wade's my favorite player. Grew up watching, the second best shooting guard that ever lived.
God.
Shout out. I'm sorry. Most
top 5 for sure.
Here we go.
All right. So this is what we do. This is exactly what we do. Way better than Melo if anyone's talking, No.
We will not argue this for the 90th time.
All right. So, but yeah, and I mean, it was cool. Like, those are some sick moments. But yeah, like you said, you're going to be there until 3, 4 in the morning. And I mean, it was fun. I mean, my last night, I was in the content chair directing all the content for the night. I had a Tissot buzzer beater. I had a couple 50-point games. I worked till 6 in the morning. It's my last night. And I'm like, God, this play
Whatever.
like fucking doesn't end, but it was dope. And then like
That's
just talking
actually-
shit meanwhile the whole time with you boys.
Oh, 100%.
That's actually an awesome way to end, though, man.
It was,
That's
it was
just-
cool. It was cool.
You're, to look back on that time in your life and in this industry and think that your swan song came on that night, and literally you left when you were seeing the sunrise. That's the true definition of like what it took to be like
Grinding.
part of that NBA fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
without a doubt. And I mean, like I said, I had some crazy memories. Kawhi's was one of the best ones because the guy who was running the content center, big Philly fan, I'm over here recording him and making fun of him. He's devastated. I'm making fun of the
You're
dude.
talking about Doug, right?
Yeah, big Philly fan. Screw you, man.
Shout out Doug
Tomorrow,
Hammond.
send him home.
Shout out,
Like those were the nights where I'm making fun of this guy while he's experiencing this as a fan. Oh man, like me and Bush, we had a night. We saw LeBron's buzzer beater against the
I was going to bring
Raptors.
that up. The fact that it was the Raptors series.
Yes.
LeBron's last year in Cleveland, and I remember because you're a Miami guy, I'm a Cavs guy. We love LeBron, and I remember what we have like day shifts, so we left early or something. Went to B-Dubs, and then he hits that banking buzzer beater, and I just remember both of us. First of all, we're like, "Holy shit!" Like that was sick, but also, they're all freaking out in the office right now while we're watching this in B-Dubs with a beer and wings. I was like, "Yo, screw you guys!"
Screw you. Oh,
it was so
man.
funny.
It was like it was such an evil like thought, but like every time I would look up, because I remember I was actually on a junior NBA trip when Kawhi hit that shot, and I remember being out at a bar eating dinner. It happened, and I flipped out. Of course,
You
but then
check Slack.
my mind went immediately to like, thank fucking God I didn't have to deal with it.
Straight up, like I understand that. I understand. Speaking of
It's a
that
grind.
NBA trip, we had a good time over there. I got to visit over there in
Yes,
Orlando.
Yeah, no, you for sure did. That was a good time. I mean, I felt like I was there for like a billion days, but nah, you being there, that was a good little reprieve. But yeah, man.
Yeah,
in general,
I was an hour and a half away and you didn't hit me up, but that's okay.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
damn.
I mean, you should know the NBA didn't give us any time. I think
you don't think too. You just go.
Yeah, you just go.
Yeah,
And
true.
That's how I live my life. I don't really
I'm
think.
also
I just
kidding.
react. That's why I
I
work
think
in
my
social media.
most down time when I was down there in Orlando was like 45 minutes of free time. So
There you
wouldn't
go.
have been even able to do anything. But it's cool
Absolutely.
though, hearing your perspective, the same as ours. It's like nothing but good memories in general. Obviously, there's some shitty things, of course, but in general, man, it was an awesome time. And the fact that we'll be boys now moving forward is
Oh, that was the biggest thing.
The one thing I want to bring up is you being 2K Mikey and freaking the 2K league starts up and you are like the guy. And
Yeah.
like, how was that? I mean, I remember you were grinding and then Gabe came in and helped out and, you guys were killing it. But I remember you were just 2K Mikey for a while.
I mean, it was wild. So like, there's this cool opportunity. Just jumped in, and I go to my boss. I was like, "Yo, like I saw he was swamped. I was like, yo, let me help you out. It'd be cool. I play 2K. I'm whatever. But my brother was nasty. But I know about the game and I play. And I grew up gaming a little. I'm not gonna lie. I used to play a lot of Gears of War at night. So I knew a little bit about the space, but I also knew where it was going. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let me just join in. And I just hop in, not knowing exactly what I'm about to do. And I'm just like, next thing you know, my boss just hands the keys over to the kingdom. He's like, all right, come up with a content plan. All right, what kind of content we're going? All right, what are we rolling out with? And I'm like, oh shit.
I still remember
crazy.
that. I still remember in our archives, we had that one GIF of you at the 2K stadium. You were behind taking some photo and then just like, oh shit, running back.
I'm on camera because you try to stay up.
I'll never forget that.
You realize you're in the middle of it. Oh my God.
It's like a drone shot or whatever, jib going down, and you're just like right there, like, oh crap.
It was awesome though. But I'm not gonna lie, I went in there blind, but it was the first season.
Everyone did.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of Saturdays, a lot of Sundays in there. The schedule was wild, but it was pretty dope. Just because you're doing something, you have no idea, so you're just thinking on the fly. And for me personally, I plan a lot because we were in social media, but The majority of the stuff I come up with is just on the fly. Like we're watching games, you're like, all right, you remember this, and it just happens. That's why I work social. That's why I work in social. Like you just react, and that's what
you're always going. Yeah.
Plus, also, it was down the street from my house and I'm in my apartment.
Oh, the studio. I remember you being like, "Yo, it's easy.
I got no commute. I'm in."
And Brooklyn, where was it? Long Island City, right?
Long Island City. I'm in Greenpoint. It was a 10-minute bike ride. I used to hop on my.
You and Kev would go there.
Yeah, you had the worst commute to get into the actual office. So I bet when 2K was afforded to you, you were like, "Oh, fucking sign me up."
10-minute bike ride. I'm like, okay. I used to hop on my city bike. But it was cool. I met some cool people. People I had no idea I'd meet. I got to work like a celebrity game. Got to meet the Red Mamba. I got to meet Chris Brickley. I got to meet a bunch of people, and it was cool. And I got to sit in the chairs and play. During a little break on some of the days.
Did they put like phone books under so you could see the screen? Or?
Oh man, that's cold-blooded. Cold-blooded.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, this guy don't want it though. This guy don't want it.
I love you.
Man. Nah, man. You were
lucky he's virtual right now.
Yeah.
In Buffalo.
2K pioneer, but Mikey, enough NBA talk. Earlier in the pod, Bush and I kind of went through the NFL schedule release went down last week, and we picked our division winners. We won't bore you with that, but
have a bail away, guys. Bucks fan. We're looking.
That's what we're about to ask you. So just
okay, so all right. Bush, it's funny. We knew that you were gonna say that shit.
We knew that was coming.
Let's get right to it. I'm gonna jump you right to your Super Bowl pick, but if that doesn't include Tampa Bay, I'll ask a follow up of how you're feeling as a Bucks fan.
Oh, Bucks fan, come on! I've been to 10 Bucks games in Tampa. I went to UCF. Used to go down. Used to take an hour-and-a-half drive on Sundays. Go to games all the time.
So where you're a Miami boy. What happened to the Dolphins? They just sucked that bad that you gave them up.
I mean, I like the Dolphins, not gonna lie, but I grew up, and when you're a kid, you're just like flip-flopping, not gonna lie, you don't really know sports. Yep. And that's what I did. I didn't know sports, and then when I started learning football, I was like, the Bucks were nice. They had a sick defense. They had a white dude named Mike Allstott, fullback, an absolute monster, and they had a linebacker, Derrick Brooks, who is a beast and my favorite player of all time. I actually made my dad sit and go to a mall and come get a jersey with me and come get my jersey signed. He actually dragged one of my best friends. This is my team. I mean, we were dirty. Simeon Rice, Rondé Barber. So, yeah.
All I'll say is that could be true, and that's an awesome backstory. I haven't heard one time that you were a Bucks fan.
Yeah, you haven't said anything about it. What happened all the years there?
What do you guys? You're crazy, dude.
I never heard you, dude. I used to mock Jameis on the daily. Why didn't I hear anything?
My friends make fun of me because I stuck with Jameis. I didn't want us to lose Jameis. I'm like, yo, hey, he had 1 year, new coach. Bruce Arians was turning around. I didn't throw the most picks, but he didn't have some contacts in. And then being from Florida, like I watched him at FSU. I'm like, the guy is there. He threw
all right, so he's not there anymore.
And then, but then we get Tom Brady. I'm like, oh, I'm LA in Super Bowl. That's it. And he brought his boy Gronk with him.
Okay, so is that who do you think that?
Oh, we're winning the NFC. We're winning the NFC.
Okay, that's interesting.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, the only competition. I mean, we got Breeze. He's tough. I mean, Breeze and Brady. That's a matchup, right? That's like that is the Super Bowl in the NFC. San Fran's gonna be tough, but they got Jimmy G. Come on now.
So to give you, and then who do you have in the AFC?
I got the guy that's gonna go down, that might surpass Tom Brady as the best player we've ever seen in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's no stopping.
They're just nasty.
I mean, the guy's throwing backward passes over here. He's on the run going one way and just throwing through the other. I mean, that was my favorite sport growing up. I'm a football guy as well. I mean, I'm all sports. That's why I've been a Major League Soccer. That's why I'm in the NBA, all that. But, like, that guy, he's fun to watch. And Kansas City.
For sure. So we actually are all, with your AFC pick, we all picked the Chiefs to repeat, to go to the Super Bowl. I personally had the 49ers. It's a boring pick.
Wow, but you picked a rematch?
I do. Yeah, man. I think
never happened.
I could see it easy.
Never.
You don't think
never?
Yeah, I know history tells differently, but I look at the NFC and the Saints are right there. I just think the defense that San Fran has and the fact that they were literally a long ball away from winning that Super Bowl. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but I have a rematch on schedule. And Bush, you had the Saints, right?
Saints, yeah.
Ooh, I mean, I could see the Saints. But
Yeah.
Sure.
football's weird, man. Hey, like no one expects it. That's why football is the most wild sport there is.
It's great.
Just the unexpected. And like no one knows what the hell's who picked the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl before the year started. Come on, who picked the 49ers to dominate?
I know I didn't.
No one did.
Who picked
That's
the
why,
Ravens to be where they were?
Who picked Lamar Jackson? I mean, some people did. Lamar Jackson down South Florida guy, so I'm all Lamar Jackson.
They love him, yeah. No.
I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan, but like that's what football is all about. And the injury factor. I mean, it is a brutal sport. So like someone's gonna get injured, something's gonna change. Not both teams are gonna end up there. I think the KC, but who knows? But like two teams, that'd be some wild odds. I mean, it'd be crazy.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you came in guns blazing about your Bucks. The fact that you have him in the Super Bowl, it's not going to happen in my opinion. But the fact that you picked him,
It's gonna be a fun season.
I love that. But yeah, it is going to be a fun season.
If there's a season.
Hopefully it happens. And speaking of a season that I'm hoping that happens, is the MLS. And
yes, absolutely.
I kind of want to update all of us. Everyone listening, but us too. How has it been since you've been there? Social media manager there. So in the same world of social media, but flipping from the NBA to the MLS, basketball to soccer, how has that change been for you?
It was fun, man. It was just different because like it's such a unique experience for me going from the NBA. Actually, backstory, I was also at the MLB, so I've been at a couple leagues, and just to see how each league works differently from the league office standpoint is really, really cool. But for me, like I said, I'm from Miami, and seeing a team like Inter Miami and I went back home. I was home for week 2, and I went to a bar for the games. I was home for a wedding. So second week of the season, I know I'm not working games over there. But like we went to a bar for the games, and it was packed. Like it was the watch party was nuts. Everyone's rocking Air Miami gear. And like, I was pumped. I'm like, this is going to be really cool. And like, I'm just starting to get into soccer. It's kind of a new sport to me. Like I didn't grow up a soccer fan. I grew up a football fan. But like, as you grow older, new traditions and like being around different people definitely kind of shape who you are. And the World Cup got me, man. Like I remember waking up at like 6 a.m. watching games. And then when we had off days at the NBA, I'm going to watch games at 10 a.m. bars. Like it was really freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning about this league. Coming in the off season, Seattle just won. It was a rematch with Toronto. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be really cool. And like I said, we have an expansion team. My first week working games, we got Nashville. They had the most fans for an attendance in a soccer game history in North America. It was like in Tennessee history, it was like 60-some thousand. Wow. People like, yo, wait till you go to a game. It's going to change you. I've went to one game. It was Mexico versus Jamaica in Philly for the CONCACAF finals. So I'm like, I'm pumped. I can't wait to work a game. And then like, this hits. And like most people, we didn't know the extent of it personally. But it's different. It's allowing me to really kind of sit back and just think differently in terms of content.
Okay.
So, we got to give our fans like a unique experience to see how we got to, educate them about our league, but also teach them about our past. So this is our 25th season right now. So it was the celebration of the 25th season. I'm like, let's go on pump. I'm celebrating our 25th season. I'm entering the league. Such a growing league.
Year.
Yeah, this is nuts. This league is growing, right? We got David Beckham in Miami. Everyone's pumped. We got Nashville. Like and the league keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm excited. We got some huge names this year. We had a lot, we had Chicharito come. I was here for that. Like Chicharito, the Mexican army in LA was fired up. I mean, we were pumped. And then, like I said, this happened. So it allows us now, we have to sit back. And for me, from a historical standpoint, I'm now learning the league because a lot of stuff, we're throwing back some of our historical content because what can you do now? You can look forward to what's going to happen, but like no one really knows. So during this content hiatus, we celebrate our 25th season. So it was April 6th, I think. We basically re-aired all the first game ever in MLS. We got 4 players that played in it, and we did a live stream with them commentating. I'm like sit back, and these guys were on the U.S. men's national team, so they're talking about it. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. We launched the MLS in '96 Instagram account that basically is reliving the '96 year in real time, from the first draft pick to the first goal scored, and it's still going on. Shout out, give it a follow, guys. So this is really cool for me. Like it's like a whole new language I'm learning, and I'm also had to think differently. Unlike I had to, like everybody, like no one knows what the hell is going on right now. Like no one knows these content plans, so we're figuring out week by week. So right now we're just sitting back. Every week, the way we're approaching is like we're streaming live games like everybody else, but we're thinking like, all right, let's celebrate specific weeks, and specific weeks have a sort of theme behind it, and that's the theme we're going to roll with. So like, for instance, this week is Heineken Rivalry Week. So I was actually in charge of the content plan for Heineken Rivalry Week, and we're really honing in on like the big rivalries around MLS, like El Trafico, LAFC, the Galaxy, so like those are really, really cool, and I'm learning about them. We have Toronto, Montreal, like Cascadia Cup, which is Portland, Seattle. It's been around before MLS was around. So I'm like, I'm like, all right, I'm in charge of the content plan. I got, I'm learning about this history. It's been really, really cool. But luckily for us, last week we returned to practice. So the end is near. At least that's how it feels right now.
Yeah, that's always good. Honestly, it's like it's got to be the craziest thing coming into a job, like you mentioned. Not only are you trying to learn the sport because, like it's not like the NBA where you knew everything, but also freaking Corona hits, and then you're just at home, and not just at home, but you're trying to create things, off the cusp, and you can't, it's not as easy. So shout out.
Yeah,
Smart kid.
It's really cool.
And shout out, you mentioned it, but that the MLS 96 account that you're doing, throwing it back to like footage from that first season, but having a whole channel be just that. So like I remember when the first one that I saw, I was just like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. And then I realized like the entire page is nothing but throwback. It was like that. I thought that was an awesome idea. So hats off to you there. But I had a question regarding how you're talking about like the expansion teams and David Beckham now owning in Miami. Things are getting bigger, and the fact that we just had Zlatan for a bit, from a player perspective, Chicharito now in LA as well. I feel like I keep hearing some English Premier League guys, people in the Euro leagues that are starting to more and more express interest. Are you holding the same belief and expectation that we're heading in the next few years, maybe even decade, that we're going to start to get maybe one of those European guys in their prime to make that leap, or you think we're still a ways away from that?
I think it's twofold, honestly. Like, really paying attention to the sport and the U.S. over the past, couple of years, really getting into the World Cup. Like, we have so much talent here. Like, one of my best friends works in youth development leagues, and he's talking about how like with the fastest growing sport in America is soccer. So it's like, yeah, we could get those, and like I think we got to start with like our homegrown players, which we have. Like Alphonso Davies was a Canadian player and went over there. So like that's where the league gets really strong, is growing our homegrown players. And then people overseas are like, oh my God, US, great place to live. Canada, great place to live. And like the league's really, really competitive. And I mean, the league's really competitive. Like we said, we've had a lot of players, older players, come over here and had great experiences. Wayne Rooney said the same thing. So that's the big thing, is like the sky's the limit. We're just so young, and you're just creating a league out of nowhere. Like it was 25 years ago, they're like, all right, we're going to create Major League Soccer in America, where, soccer was, like the fourth or fifth sport realistically. So as the U.S. men's national team grows, as youth academies grow around America, and that's the one thing we're focused on is youth development. I think kind of sky's the limit, and from there, people want to play in the best league. They want to play with the best talent. So as America gets better, people see the attraction over here. Like I said, the David Beckham effect and the ability to showcase and put yourself on a world level. Like soccer, yeah, you're big in Europe and that that side of the world, but if you want to become a global brand, you got to take it to North America and this side of the world. And I think I think it's gonna happen. It's just like I said, it's really exciting. It's competitive.
Right.
It's gonna be it's interesting. Sky's the limit. It's different.
You just never know. You never know.
Never know.
No, I think that's fair. I also take from what you're saying is that it's going to be a slow burn. If you think that for us to get those big guys to come over from Europe, that we have to grow our homegrown players, then we're on the building of that. But I think a guy like, I'm looking at like Pulisic over there at Chelsea. When he signed with Chelsea, I'm a Chelsea fan personally, so I know their roster. When he signed there, they had enough players of his position that I was like, I don't know if I see the fit. And after a season of watching it, he barely cracked the lineup. So I'm wondering if maybe he goes another year of not really seeing time.
He didn't crack the lineup because he was hurt.
He was hurt, but like
Mason, when he's not hurt.
Mason Mount, there were guys that were solid. They like in that role. So I'm wondering, like at his age, do you think there's any chance that he almost takes the plunge in his prime to come back over, since he's already a global but United States icon? You think there's a chance that Pulisic just kind of retreats and comes back to the MLS?
I mean, there's always a chance. It's honestly, everybody's different. Like, it's personal preference. What if his whole dream maybe he's wanting to go and play in the English Premier League, maybe,
Right.
And that's where he's at right now. And I'm pretty sure he's said that. But who knows? Maybe he wants to come back home, be closer to family, and also he sees Major League Soccer as something that's taking off. I think it's just personal preference, and that's what like everything is nowadays. Players have all the power. It's similar to basketball. Like, where are these guys going? LeBron, I'm going to LA because I want to go live in LA. I'm leaving my home city because I want to go play there. Players, they're gonna react how they act. They're gonna base everything on what fits them. It's similar to how we do our jobs. Like, it's the reason I moved to New York. I wanted to move to New York because I wanted to live in New York, and I knew all the sports leagues were here. I can't talk for him personally, but I definitely think it's an attractive league. I think we're going to see someone soon, hopefully in Miami. Let's be real. And nice place to live. Like I said, Beckham's there. There's a reason Beckham's here. I mean,
Right.
he's from England. There's a reason he's here. There's a reason he came here. And
So
I
I totally agree, bro, and I'm rooting for it because I think we're building that awesome foundation. The fact that the league is growing so quick, and David Beckham signing on, and guys like David Villa and Chicharito and all these guys that were superstars at the highest level, now maybe on the back nine of their career, but coming over and showing almost like a rejuvenated skill set. Zlatan coming in and doing his thing in LA. Like, I hopefully
Zlatan's not finished, dude. The guy goes overseas. He just scored right away.
I know.
Scored right away. Come on.
He's not a human being. But nah, dude, straight up, I'm rooting for you and the league. I think it's going to be successful. I think it's on the upward trajectory, and I do think sky's the limit. But Bush, anything else that you got for our guy?
No, not really. I think we hit it all. It's good to catch up, though, for sure, in a podcast setting, as opposed to just zooming with 1,000 people last week. But
yeah, that was
it was fun.
I wish you could hear the conversations, guys. Those are fun ones.
No, what I think is cool is the fact that we had you on now, but I know it's not like we're breaking any news on this pod, but it came out that your players are back to practicing, and you guys are one of the first domestic leagues to be taking that next step toward normalcy. So we would love to stay in touch with you over these next few weeks, month and a half, whatever it may be, but to continue to get your feedback that you're able to share. I know some things have to stay in-house, but we would love to have you back on soon to kind of to hear how things are going to continue to develop and see how the first MLS season with Mikey, social media manager, running the shit.
Well, he goes from
not
Mikey
running the
2K to
ship.
Mikey MLS.
Not running the ship. Just like at the NBA, we had a really cool team. People I work there are all awesome, smart ass fucking people. Like every sports league, I think.
Yeah.
We put out some really cool creative content. Definitely check us out. And like I said, it's an interesting time. No one really knows what the hell's going on. I don't. You guys don't. No one does.
Yeah.
So it's that's cool, and that's what's given it. Like we got a lot of access to players right now. They're on our channels, and it's been a fun, not a fun hiatus, but it's been at least like, you know, we're getting by. Like
worthwhile for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It allows you to think differently. So
awesome. Well, yo, again, appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on, and definitely we'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely, can't wait, guys.
For sure. Thanks again to our buddy Mike Garabedian for coming on the pod with us. Second guest here with Talking Sports A to Z. Always love catching up with him and chatting with him.
Yeah, Mike's great. He's great people. We've been kind of in the trenches since, you know, we started the NBA with him. So it's good to catch up. I know we talked with him on a little Zoom call the other day. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's good to catch up on podcast form.
Always is. And now, without further ado, as we always do, we're going to shift to talking about the MJ doc. It's been the talk of the town every Sunday night. I'm now in a rhythm and a routine to end my weekends, 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern time. I know exactly what I'm doing for those 2 hours. And I thought those installments this past weekend was the best
I agree.
so far. I think the things that stood out to me first and foremost was that he was human. I mean, he won the third championship. His dad passed. He goes to baseball, and then seeing him, and we'll dissect all those, but just my overall takeaway was that initial him coming back for those final 17 games after playing baseball and not being the same Michael. It was like, oh my God. I think Keith Olbermann had the funny the breaking news segment on ESPN. It was like, breaking news, Michael Jordan is human.
But it's legit. That's what it was.
Yeah, and you heard his trainer, Tim Grover, come out and say that from that transition from baseball to basketball, he went back to the Bulls for those remaining games only at most 70 to 75% of what he was. And you saw that 75% Michael wasn't better than those Penny Hardaway, Trace McGrady, Horace Grant, Shaq, that Magic team, because they thumped them.
I do have to say, he still dropped 55 in the Garden at 70% or whatever it was, which was incredible. But, I mean –
and even in that series, sorry to jump in, but
no, you're fine.
Even in that Magic series, the game 2 that he came back and evened the series up with that monster 35-point game, but it wasn't a sustainable effort. So yes, he had the double nickel game that is honestly one of the more iconic memories of his career. But from a sustainable standpoint, it wasn't the typical Michael that we obviously are coming to realize throughout the rest of this doc and over the course of his career.
It's just crazy to see. Obviously coming back and being different is one thing. We'll get, we can talk more about that, but I think the craziest thing, and we know what happened, we've heard it 1,000 times, we've seen it 1,000 times, but last night I'm thinking, and I'm like, what would happen if Michael Jordan wins 3 titles? He's at the peak of his career. He's 30 years old, and in this day and age, and he just quits. And this is before he went back to baseball, just quits. It's like, it's insane. Like, you think just big guys that have quit early, like Andrew Luck is the one that comes to mind. My buddy is like, yeah, it's like Andrew Luck times a million, which is true. Like imagine something like that. It's like someone that is like, it was a shock when he quit, and he's like not even close to Michael Jordan status.
Let's quit is such a strong word because I constitute quitting
Retire.
The only thing, forgive me for trying to dispel what you're saying, but he retired to go play a different sport.
No, I mean, but I'm meaning like the shock value the day you find out he retired because you didn't know he was going to baseball yet.
100%. Yeah,
crazy.
It would have been an incredible shock. But it kind of is that you kind of segue into what I was thinking. What I was thinking about this media age. If he did what he did, changing sports in 2019, 2020, and he was struggling at baseball like he did at first with the White Sox, if he struggled like he did nowadays in a new sport, the media attention that would be around him already, but that would amplify his
every
struggle,
bad thing.
What my mind goes to would be like it would have been a different type of test of his mental fortitude to see if he would be able to live and to just continue to truck through just the modern era media coverage of him, going 200 and not doing too great as a baseball player. You saw some of those headlines and how he ruined he stopped his relationship with Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, because that head or that cover.
Because they were shitting on him. And think about that. He totally nixed his relationship with a complete publication for one edgy title.
Imagine if Twitter was a thing.
And oh my God, dude! Imagine
oh my goodness!
First Take, Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, all these guys that almost lean LeBron. So imagine if MJ was in this day and age, went to baseball after winning and being the top of the game of basketball, goes to baseball and it doesn't really work out. The media would have been crazy. So
insane.
It is always a what if game, but that's something that I was thinking about of like, damn, if he went to baseball and kind of floundered, would he be the same? Would he even have the kind of the motivation and the tenacity to like, all right, fuck this, I'm going back to basketball? Or would he almost feel defeated? And could that have been like a different trajectory of Michael's career?
It could have brought him in a different space where he's like, screw all this, I'm out. Like,
right. And like,
who knows if he would have come back at that point?
Totally. But
it's crazy.
He does. And we see the but while he was in Chicago, I was going to get too forward. While he was in Chicago, that Bulls team that Steve Kerr comes in, Pippen is the guy. And yeah, they were successful and they were winning some games, but the glaring takeaway from that Bulls team when Pippen was the guy was him quitting on his team with 10 seconds to go against the Knicks. And thankfully Kukoc comes in and wins it for him and they sneak out of that game. But you heard Phil, the team was broken. I mean, what was it? The big man comes in after the game. They win, and he stands up, makes a speech, and starts crying. And
just imagine that locker room after that. Like it's first of all, it's like you're all beat down after an incredible win, and you're also like it is so awkward and probably quiet, and everyone's like, and then everyone gets emotional. So it's
right, yeah,
weird.
And so that was my biggest takeaway. But was there anything else that you were thinking about from those Pippen-led Bulls teams outside of him being a quitter?
Not really. I mean, obviously they touched on that. I think that was the biggest thing. I think it's just crazy to me that they talk about that and then they go back to Scotty and he admits like it was screwed up, like it never should have done that. But then he goes but I would do it again because of the situation he was put in, and he remembers how he was feeling, and there's no way he would have done anything different, which is crazy because he's not a quitter, and we know that. That's just one misjudged thing. But also, I think not being the leader and the guy was getting to him a lot, as you could see.
Right.
And he's not the same kind of guy as Michael. So they talked about that a lot, and it's true and evident.
And in a way, to try to relate it to modern day basketball, it was kind of something that came to my mind was how Kyrie eventually kind of got tired of being the Robin to Batman, and he goes.
Are you really going to do this right now?
Well, I'm sorry.
Are you really going to bring back bad memories?
Just a quick
wounds.
Sidebar, but the fact he goes to Boston and trying to be the guy, and it didn't really work out.
Yeah.
And his next move goes to Brooklyn, but he brings KD with him. So some people are just meant to be awesome Robins, awesome numbers.
Some guys are just not the alpha, and they never will be, and that's completely fine. Like, you look at guys like that, they're still studs, and they're still going to win titles and, be that kind of person.
And that they did. MJ comes back. We talked about how in the final 17 games of his season that he returned right off the baseball kind of vacation. Those 17 games, he wasn't the same, but after a full off season in which he got his body back and came back, it was formerly the best season in NBA history. They go 72-10. Seemingly they were in autopilot and still throttling teams by 30. A couple good stories came about that during that season. You had the Bullets story, and
that's incredible, by the way.
The fact that MJ makes up a story about a random first-round pick just to get motivated to what did he go? He went 37 in that first game.
Yeah, so the LeBradford Smith, just to go back on it, he was on the Bullets playing the Bulls, and he went off for 37. They fly back to Washington. He tells reporters that he said, "Good game, Mike," like kind of like screw you kind of thing, which he didn't. And then MJ scores 36. He almost matched his in the first half. He almost matched his last game in the first half. It's just something to give him that chip on the shoulder, which is incredible that he would like make up shit or get stuff in his mind to be like that killer guy.
This was the first example that we had in this documentary of him completely fabricating an entire story.
It's savage, to be honest, dude.
He is so next level of a competitor. It is unbelievable. But
love it.
The Charlotte series, the fact that
BJ Armstrong.
BJ Armstrong, former teammate of his, and has a great first game. Comes out and honestly was dominating that game in Chicago. Like, kind of took it to him, and you woke the beast though. So
and then he just went off.
And he just went absolutely bananas.
So, funny story. I'm thinking back, and I'm like, what does this remind me of? And this is a little off. Obviously, this is different because it's not someone who used to play for the team. But it reminds me of the beast versus that little team who wants to be the underdog and win. It reminds me of when the Cavs would play the Hawks like 3 years in a row. That first they get swept, and then they come back, and Jeff Teague's like, not this year in game one, and then they sweep them. But it just cracks me up. It's just like that little boy kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was one of those things of like, BJ Armstrong could have a game, but even in his interviews about that series, he was just like, every player has their moment. Michael has every moment. I happened to have a moment, but I knew deep down the realistics of everything. It was his teammate that ended up saying some shit on the sideline that MJ heard at the end of that game that prompted him to get that energy going of, okay, you're now on my fuck you list, and you're,
exactly.
You're gonna get thumped, and they proceeded to do it in 4 straight games. So that was light work for him to do that, and it was awesome. But I think one of the cooler things was they didn't go too in depth about it, so I don't think we need to. But just the fact that he goes in the off season to record Space Jam, and to maintain his peak performance, he had a whole entire facility built. So it ended up being one of those like kind of circus tents, those big blow up things, but he had a full weight room and a full basketball court. Frankly, I think they were saying that it was sized to fit like 4 courts, all for his training. And he
brought in guys to play against, and not only play against, this like to just spy on, like see their tendencies. It's incredible. It's always turning.
It was another example of how MJ was forever playing chess when everyone else was playing checkers, and he was bringing in Reggie Miller. I mean, you name him. You saw it in the film, and it comes across as let's get good runs. And yes, that's what it was. But
they did for sure, but that was not the only reason.
But also, when MJ's team was sitting for a game, he was right on that baseline just watching the game. Oh, Reggie does that. Oh, this guy does that. Like, it was awesome to see, and just another example of just how next level MJ was.
It's incredible just to see throughout this whole thing. Like, we've all heard everything, and just to see from like other guys talking and just like inside footage of how much of just an assassin he was in basketball. All he wanted to do was win. They kept saying, was he a great guy? Maybe off the court, but on the court, he wanted to win. And if he was going to be an asshole to you to get you to be better, or to get your team to be better, to win, he was going to do it. He didn't give a shit. So it's incredible.
It's going to slip through the cracks of our discussion here, but Scotty Burrell, man, shout out to Scotty Burrell.
About to say that.
Literally just got bitch boyed. I mean, MJ,
those videos, he's just like, "Oh, you make one shot, two? Oh, you made 2?" Just chirping him all day long.
Little boyed him around, and but yeah, there was a price to be great and to be the level of great that MJ was expecting, and if you weren't ready for it or down to meet those standards, you were dead to him. And it was truly as simple as that. So it stinks that after last night, watching the rest of the last of those 2 episodes, it was just like, oh my God, I feel like it just started.
We got 2 left. 1 week.
It's so crazy. This has been the substitute of having no sports. This has been like my peak of the week. Like
it's literally Sunday Night Football for us.
Literally. And it's coming to an end, man. But
we kind of started the podcast on this, talking about this shit. So
we kind of did, and we're leading into the finale. We have they leave it off with the beginning of that Pacers series. Reggie Miller at the peak of his powers. I'm wondering what else is going to be totally highlighted, though. I can't wait.
I really can't wait, and I hope they go deep into Michael and the person he was. They have already, but they keep saying, like, he was saying people might not like me for who I was, and like I don't get that feeling yet. So I'm waiting to see if there's more, or if it's just people not realizing that he was an assassin, wanted to be a winner, and he was an asshole to teammates. But like, that doesn't get me to not like him. Are you kidding me? That's legendary for how he was. So I'm excited to see if there's different little things we either don't know or don't know a ton about yet. So especially for, being 98, I was 5 years old. So yeah.
Boom. I think you hit a nail on the head. I think eloquently said. I agree with you. It's I think there's been moments like the gambling part, the conspiracy theories. I didn't even want to bring it up because it's so cringeworthy, but the fact that
with his dad,
the media outlet about his dad, and the conspiracy theories about the gambling. I do think that I think one of the main things he was thinking about was his gambling issue, that people might have taken that more seriously then
there was clearly nothing there.
So
But I mean, this day and age, people try to pick straws out of anything. So
that
it could have been worse.
very well could be it, but who knows? Maybe in these last episodes we see something alarming that we haven't seen before. But like everyone else, it's been an incredible journey seeing this Last Dance, and 1 week to go, man. It's sad. We're gonna have to bring it. We're gonna have to bring all we got next week to finish that to finish recapping that documentary, right?
Yeah, and it's funny, like I remember after the first couple episodes, I was like, I just want to watch them all right now. And now I'm like, you know what, this has been great. You know, it's been a couple of weeks, and it's been been cool to kind of go through them and see them, you know, week to week, and kind of have anticipation for the next week. So
yeah. Are you gonna judge me if I treat this like The Office and I just start rewatching them?
no, I won't judge you, but I will think to you, why are you doing that? Because it's not like it's a TV show. Like, it's different. Like, you already know what happened. You saw it. Like, you could really.
I have a sense that we're gonna finish it next week, and like a month from now, I'm gonna be like, all right, fuck this. I need to see something good. I'm just gonna flip on.
You know what we're gonna do is when I'm back in town and things are open and shit, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna watch all of them.
Binge day. I'm totally
Freaking game.
I'm totally in for it. But 1 week left. I'm excited to see what's gonna come. But dude, another good pod.
Yep.
Thanks again to our buddy Mike for coming on. Great chatting with him. Hope you guys enjoy that. And we're now going to be getting into this routine of having a good guest on every week. Some friends and people in our circle, but we're going to be soon venturing out into our professional network to get guys that are experts in their craft and their specific field, and to bring on a new take and a unique professional opinion on something that we want to talk to them about. So we're going to be dipping into those guests shortly, but as always, we appreciate everyone listening. If you're listening to this for the first time, we're on Apple, Spotify, all the places that you can listen. We're there. We would love a rate and subscribe if you can.
Yep.
And with that, Bush, I'll let you sign us off, but hope everyone has a good week, and take it away, Bush.
Yeah, just just to go off of our little pod we're bringing here, is just follow us on Instagram, Twitter at Talking Sports AZ. I'm Alex Bush 93 on both, and then you're Drew's Logar, correct?
Yep, I'm Drew_Logar on Twitter, and the same as well on Instagram.
Yeah, so give us a follow, give us ideas, thoughts. If you're one of our friends in our network who wants to come on to, shoot us a message. We'd love to talk to you eventually. So that's all I got. Things are hopefully getting more back to normal, in the next few weeks. So it's good to see, just living in upstate New York right now in my family's house. Things are kind of open here Friday on the first phase of things. So it's kind of good to see that. I know we don't really want to touch on quarantine too much because it's just depressing, but
that's why we're doing this pod, so that we don't
exactly. I just wanted to mention it's good stuff right now.
No, good news, and good news is worth sharing. So that's good to hear.
Of course. But that's it for me. Thanks for listening to this episode. We'll talk to you guys next week, and we look forward to it.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for listening.